rip my shirt.
Chainsaw fight. Welcome to a mini review, a show where two small-town dudes give our mini dumb opinions. I'm Troy to the Max Extreme.
I'm JD3K.
Today we are going over Mandy.
Yeah.
While it's relevant, we need to throw it in there.
Lots of people giving this lots of praise.
That's right.
Hearing it all over the board.
So we're hitting it up on our quick Monday ep.
Yeah. Just to give you something to wake up to. Something to just ponder during your Monday morning commute.
A little breakfast biscuit, if you will.
Got a little McMuffin in you.
So right off the top, we got some Mandy stats right here.
Gotcha.
Dropped in January at film festivals about everywhere. But for home release, September 14th, 2018, it dropped on VOD with a estimated budget of $6 million.
Yeah.
Domestically, in its small theatrical run, it made $39,792. But because it also dropped...
It's on VOD. So.
On VOD at the same time, it's still making that money back through all those transactions through there.
Yeah.
You can find this on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
That's how I saw it.
That's how I got it.
You can rent it there, or you can buy it. Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 94%.
Yeah.
IMDb has it a little bit lower, 6.9 out of 10.
Okay, that's substantially lower, I would say.
But Metacritic about hits the middle at 82%.
Okay.
So fairly high marks through like the three big ones there.
Yeah.
But we'll see what we both think.
Yeah.
At the tail end of
Troy,
this review.
I want you to explain.
I figured you would. I was already prepared to do this.
What happens in Mandy?
So, maybe minor spoilers throughout my synopsis. Just minor ones.
Minor, okay.
Nick Cage is betrothed or is a girlfriend to the titular Mandy.
Yes.
They live in a little bit of a seclusion.
Yeah.
In a little house in the woods.
In some mountains, I think.
Yeah.
That's not really the name of the mountains, but it's
not really a huge issue. They just kind of live off by themselves. Through happenstance, Mandy walks by a trailer full of...
Not even the trailer, she's just like, they drive by. She's like going for a walk.
Yeah, well, it's like an RV full of religious wackos.
Yeah. There's definitely a leader of this. Yeah.
It's like a weird small religious cult, and they pine for her.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Yeah.
Try not to be to get into. It's not really clear anyway, but
no.
They want her for reasons.
Yeah.
And then they get their dirty paws on her.
Yeah.
And because of that, Nick Cage is out for a bit of revenge.
Yep. Needs to do random things like make a weird axe, go on a killing spree.
Yeah. This movie comes in at about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And there is a definite change in tone halfway through.
I would definitely agree with that.
It pays homage to 80s movies.
Yeah.
80s, like, not really slasher movies, but, like, weird kind of, like, supernatural kind of...
Like, all of those, like, experimental B movies from, like, the 70s and early 80s. It really draws a lot of...
Yeah. I mean, it only has a budget of $6 million, but that budget doesn't really show. Like, you can tell what they were going for is, like, this lower budget kind of thriller.
Yeah.
They weren't going for something really, like, poppy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, because of the low budget, not because of the low budget, despite the low budget, I really thought it was very expertly shot.
Oh, God. I know. Like, a lot... I felt like this is what Grindhouse should have looked like.
Well, like, okay, so... I really didn't know what to think when finishing this movie.
Yeah.
And so I saw that a few of my like go-to reviewers for things did a review on it. And so I'm like, what did they think? Because I already know usually my stance on their reviews about where I stand, whatever they say. Mm-hmm. And the duo was kind of split on it.
Yeah.
But more leaning towards the positive.
Yeah. I almost wanted you to kind of see the, like, give, like, a day to dwell on this. Because usually, like, for movies like this, I need, like, a day or two to dwell on it.
Yeah.
Before I really start to like it.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I'll tell you what I thought about it when we get to it. But, yeah, this is definitely one of those movies where, like, I think you need a little bit of time to kind of dwell on it to see if you really did like it. Like, this isn't one of those movies where, like, I don't think this is one of those movies where, like, you're enjoying it as you're watching it. Like, you need to kind of dwell on it to be like...
Yeah, at the end, you're not going to hop out of your seat and be like, hell like, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, like, I'll say the beginning starts a lot slower than the second half.
Yeah. If I were to do, like, an elevator pitch of this movie, it would be like... maybe, like, Heavy Metal, the magazine...
Yeah.
meets... The Strangers meets, like, Texas Chainsaw.
I would say that. Yeah.
Like a weird three-way mesh of those things.
Yeah, but I don't
Or maybe,
know,
like, even, like, maybe instead of Strangers, Red State.
Yeah.
Because that's got, like, that weird religious twist to it, too.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like even, like, the religious thing is just kind of like a back burner. It was, like, more of, like, an excuse to have this group.
Yeah. I mean, their actions aren't... They say they're religiously motivated, like, but not really.
Yeah, even the group themselves are pretty hypocritical because they talk about how they're like very religious, but then like their big like muscle is like this weird demonic biker gang. Which, yeah, well, we'll dive into all of that once we get into spoilers, but holy shit, does this go off the rails at some point?
The first hour of this I thought was pretty slow going.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Google wants to chime in here.
Jesus. And I to the point where I actually texted you and was like,
yeah,
I'm an hour through it.
Yeah, I even like told you like stay with it. Like I understand your pain. Just stick with it.
And it does change in tone.
Yeah. To the point where the title card shows up an hour and 15 minutes into the movie.
Yeah. But they did do that 2 times before that. It didn't show like the title card, but it showed like weird, it was like almost like weird chapters. Like the very beginning showed like the chapter was like something in the mountains or something like that.
Yeah, well, like they have a title card that shows you where you are, and then the time of year, which I think like the time of year is like 1982.
Yeah,
and then they have another title card where like they tell you the name of the cult that the guy is leading,
and so like, but those kind of happen semi close to each other within like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I thought this movie was kind of going to be told like that. And then the next one doesn't show up until an hour through it where it just is Mandy.
Yeah.
And then that's the only other one you see.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, well, not that it totally takes me out of the movie or anything like that, but I was like, if they were going to stick to that motif, there'd be like a few more sprinkled throughout or whatever. But that doesn't bother me at all. Nick Cage, even though like near the end is going on his like revenge streak.
Yeah.
I thought he was fairly subdued compared to full-on Nick Cage.
Yeah, in the beginning, I thought, like, he felt mildly sentimental, I thought.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, the scenes where it's just him and Mandy hanging out, and they're just cuddle up on the bed, and she's just kind of telling him stories about her life. Like, he seems like a very sentimental guy.
Yeah. He's doing, like, really good acting.
Yeah, like he seems like
real acting.
Yeah, like he seems like someone who's just like, yeah, I like I also like that the fact that no one in this movie is really like Hollywood style beautiful.
Oh no,
like like anywhere near that. But they're like people that you would see that would live in the mountains. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like I wouldn't say Mandy's like ugly, but I would say that Mandy is not like
classically attractive.
Yeah, she's not one of those people that would like she would be like a Scarlett Johansson or something.
No.
But it almost makes it more believable, where it's like you could see Nicolas Cage and Mandy ending up together and living in the mountains.
Somebody made a reference to her looking kind of like the wife from The Shining.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And I was like, oh, that's a pretty good reference.
Yeah.
Before I heard that one, I'm like, yeah, she kind of looks like one of my ex-girlfriends.
Whatever makes you sleep at night, Troy.
Well, at least my girlfriend didn't have a scar on her face that I knew about. Also, that once the action starts, maybe I'll just save that for spoilers.
Yeah, but no, like, yeah, but like, no, I like the character of Mandy. Like, even though like she's not, they don't show her a lot in this, but I do like the character of Mandy because they do show her that she's been through some shit. So then when she is like put in the situation where she's at the will of this cult, like she doesn't really take their shit all that much.
Right.
Even when she's put in situations where they're like almost brainwashing her or like drugging her into trying to subdue to their will, like she fights it because you get like bits and pieces of like her past and how she's been through some shit and like how she's not really gonna put up with anything like that.
Yeah, you don't get a whole lot, and I even think the story that she did tell, though maybe a bit shocking about like story about her childhood.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that would really warrant, I don't know, like her to stick up to the cult. But I mean, if her whole life was full of that stuff, I could see that.
But yeah, but you kind of get that even just based on the fact that she has that giant scar on her face.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's never referenced on how she got that.
No,
it could be like
but
she had a cooking accident.
Yeah, but it's still like she alludes to her childhood from one story, and then she has a scar on her face. Like, you kind of get the idea that she's been through some shit, and now she's in seclusion with this guy. Like, she wants to be away from everything else.
Yeah.
Like, she just wants to live the quietest life possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Their relationship was kind of sweet. Like, even though you didn't get to see a whole lot of it, what you did see is that they're like really loving with each other. They enjoy cuddling with each other, watching campy, shitty movies on TV.
Yeah. She paints.
Yeah. She's a very good a decent artist from what I could gather.
Yeah, that they actually do kind of base a lot of some of the like cinematography in this based on her art too. Like they have a lot of like scenes where like they do like some animation in this that seems like very like have you said heavy metal?
Yeah,
like it looks like heavy metal-esque type animation in this.
Yeah, and then not even the animation parts that I referenced that to, but like. So I noticed that she was also wearing like band T-shirts, and then like just some shots in the movie looked like 80s like metal covers.
Yeah.
To albums
totally,
and stuff.
totally.
But no reason, but just to be aesthetics.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really make any difference in why they're like that, but it's kind of cool and it plays with the aesthetics of the movie.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, though, without spoiling anything, is that the story isn't really engrossing. Like, there's not, like, a huge plot thread going on.
No.
It's like a simple revenge kind of flick.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And if it wasn't for some of the flashy visuals that they do, I would have been really off board.
Oh yeah, I would
with this
definitely movie. At least the first hour of this is very art filmy.
Yeah,
like, it definitely like the wonder, like the beautiful visuals of this is what's supposed to engross you. And if you're not into that at all, I would say fast forward to the last hour of this.
Yeah,
because it's very slow moving and it's a lot of visuals that you're like kind of supposed to take in, but. Yeah, like it's very slow moving, at least in the first hour, but I appreciate it for like, I felt every time I felt myself getting bored, they introduced another aspect that wasn't super fast moving, but it was different to where it still kind of kept my attention.
Yeah, I did feel like it was trying to do that too. With the visuals, like even though they're just the shot composition is really well done.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the effects they put over top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's made... I think it was shot digitally, but it was made to look like it was shot on film.
Yeah.
And they do, like, other... they do, like, kind of, like, lens flare-y things with some of the lights. Not to the effect that it's, like, J.J. Abrams type stuff.
No.
But it's kind of got that little bit of, like... a little bit of flare on some of the lights and when it happens, and then there's also like a lot of it shot at kind of monochromatic where it's like one color palette on the screen at a time, or it would strobe another in juxtaposition of
I
it.
really like the use of the color red throughout.
Yeah,
like they use
prevalent.
red. Yeah, they use red as like a very looming presence where like the minute it starts bleeding into the scene, you like they use it to a point where like when it starts bleeding into a scene, like you start like kind of feeling like, oh shit, something's about to happen, because they really use red as like a shit's about to go down.
Yeah, but I would argue that they use it a lot, and
they
so,
do.
If they use it more sparingly, I would think that I could feel like more of a looming thing happening.
Yeah.
Regardless, like like terrible things happen when the screen is red.
Yeah.
But like they use it so much that it's like the whole film could have been shot in red at this point.
Yeah, but they do have they do have really heavy blues when it's kind of subdued too.
Yeah, you're right.
And like even though red is very prevalent in like the first part, like when it starts bleeding in, and especially like how like red kind of follows this cult around, like that's when you kind of know that they're like in the area. Like if Mandy and Nicolas Cage are like in bed and then you see like red start to creep in, you're like, oh fuck, what's happening?
More along the lines of cool effects and cinematography, there's one scene where Mandy is in with the presence of this weird religious cult in like this living room, and there's this monologue that the leader is doing. And while he's doing it, it's just a straight shot of his face.
Yeah.
And it continually bleeds in and out of Mandy's face and his face. Mm-hmm. Like, through this whole speech that he's given.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought I missed something, and I'm like, oh, it was on... No, it's on her? Oh, wait, it's on him. Oh, wait, it's bleeding in and out. I really like that. That's cool.
Yeah. But no, they even do, like... I feel like they do, like, a weird, like, lens thing with it where, like... It's kind of like that shit where, like, if you've ever watched, like, super old, like, home movies from the 80s where, like, the light kind of, like, bleeds into the video. Like, they kind of do that with like, the movement of the people in the room, where, like, they're following him, but, like, his movements are kind of, like, stay in the film a little bit before they disappear, where he's almost kind of ghost-like.
Like a trail.
Yeah, he's got a trail, kind of like a ghost-like trail that follows him. And I thought that was a really cool... like concept in that whole thing. Like as he's talking, especially like they kind of show from her point of view, and this is like after she's been like drugged with like some weird like wasp they keep in a jar.
It was like a mixture of like some fucking strain of LSD and a giant fucking bee.
They have like a big like yellow jacket they keep in a fucking jar. Like a jar of piss or something, and they like make it sting her in the neck, and then she's like super drugged, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
That never comes back. But... yeah. It's just that weird, like, you wouldn't see that in like a movie now, unless it's like hearkening back to like movies of 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's about all we can really say without going into more spoiler stuff. So, I'll save the recommendations for the very end. But so, do you want to get into spoilers now, JT?
In terms of just for people that are curious but haven't seen it yet, I will say you need to be very patient with it. But if you are into any kind of Nicolas Cage craziness, at least the last half hour of it is going to be very satisfying for you, because it goes nuts.
Yeah, it definitely changes it up.
It goes really nuts. But I think if you're really into, like, if you take it in two parts, where the first half is very artsy and like cinematography based, and then the last part is just fuck it, let's take Nicolas Cage off the leash and let him do crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I think those two parts complement each other enough where I would say if you're into either of those, I would suggest checking it out.
Yeah, and it's available for rental too. So
Yeah.
Just test the waters. See
And
if you like it.
I think it comes out on DVD like at the end of October too.
Okay. So yeah, if you like that physical media hanging around your house, check it out then. It is, I would say, definitely around this season. Right now, it's good for like a good spooky movie around the house.
It would be a fun movie to play like in the background if you're having a Halloween party for sure.
Oh yeah, you could definitely play this in the background because like even like the second half when like shit's going down, it's not like a mad pace.
No.
So you could have it just
Yeah.
on in the background
Yeah.
and continually like look up every once in a while and see some shit going down.
It would be one of those ones where like you're having a conversation and you just glance up like, the fuck?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, hold on.
So,
I need to watch this
So
real
Nicolas
quick.
Cage is just snorting a bunch of coke for no reason. I kind of want to see what happens after this.
All right, let's get into some spoiler territory here.
Okay. Before we get into like the second half, I thought the cult leader was really interesting.
Yeah, I thought the whole religious cult aspect was pretty well handled because they seemed like legit loonies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I loved like the leader because he seems like he's been in power for so long that he's almost kind of like cut away from like what they do behind the scenes to try and get him what he wants. Like he'll say that he wants something and he'll say that he wants it by any means necessary. And the shit that they do is pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
To where like like when he puts himself out there and then he doesn't get what he wants and he tells them what to do after that. Like, I don't think he's really present for a lot of like the crazy shit that they do.
Right. I was going to say he seems like a leader that would never get his hands dirty.
Yeah. But I like that about him because it's like it's one thing to say do this and do that, but it's another thing to experience it. And all these people around him are so fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That they're willing to do all of that for him. Like he probably didn't even like order since we're in spoilers, he probably didn't even really order Mandy to be killed. He was just or if he did, he didn't really like think about like the consequences of brutally murdering a woman in front of her husband.
Yeah. So like they pick up Mandy because he spots her on the side of the road as she walks by.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like she's like a trinket that he wants.
Yeah, it's like an infatuation. He needs something to satisfy him, like a new plaything.
When they show him, he's kind of bored. Like, he's just kind of laying around and lazy, and he's like, I just need something to like, make me feel alive again. Like, I just feel bored. Like, I just want something to do.
Yeah.
And they pick up Mandy, and then when he, like, tries to, like, lay her charms on her after they drug her and do everything possible to make her just, like, a brain-dead idiot.
Right.
And then he, like, puts himself out there, she, like, laughs, because she's like, I've seen so many people like you in the past. Fuck you.
But I love it, the point where she laughs because
he's naked.
Well, he's naked. Yeah. So he's like whipping out his D and the fact that he's like playing his own music.
Yeah.
And saying that, have you ever heard about the Carpenters? Like, this is better than that.
Yeah.
And then he plays his own record. And so he's just trying to talk himself up.
He's literally doing a bad first date, but being surrounded by his followers that are being like, this is really cool, boss.
Yeah. And they're all doped up on LSD or whatever.
Yeah,
and like,
they're like all into it. And she's like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah. And he's trying to come on so smooth and aggressive at the same time.
Yeah.
And so when he finally whips open that robe and like shows him or shows her what he's got, she just laughs in his face. And then he's like, this shouldn't happen, and it's like goes fucking off the rails.
But do you imagine like all of like the weird douchey people that have like done that like on like a first date or something where they like bring the chick home and they're like, you want to hear my music? And they're just like, oh, I'm just imagining her getting wet. And then I fuck it. Then the minute, then once it hits that climax where I hit this certain note and she's like, she can't take it anymore. She's gonna whip open my fucking clothes, show my dick, and then she just starts fucking blowing me right there. And then it's all over, man. It's all over. She just wants it. And then when it doesn't happen that way, but he's like a cult leader,
right?
Where it's like, oh,
So he still has to have a strong pimp hand, right?
Yeah, so he's like, well, you're dead.
Yeah, because he turns to everybody else in the room. He's like, "Don't look at me!
Yeah.
Don't look at me!"
Because he's had so many yes men around him for so long. Even his major super old wife is just like super fucking into him. Like she's willing to do whatever it takes.
Super old wife.
Yeah, like she's like the first person that like kind of like comes in contact with him when they're in that hotel room, and she's just like she's hanging on every single word of his. She's just like, oh yeah, just you call me a piece of shit. 'Cause I just want to hear you talk to me. Oh yeah. And then like the minute like he's like, hey, bring someone else in the room. She's like, oh, what? Like you just don't want to be hanging out with me? Like no, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
like,
get out of here, super old wife.
Also, I want to. Well, when we get to it, like so, like after when they go to abduct Mandy, like they get their muscle, which is like some weird biker gang.
What the fuck is going on with that?
I don't know, but I think that was kind of like to kind of like bring up the fact that they are like super hypocritical because he talks about God, but these bikers are like from hell.
Oh yeah,
they are legit from hell. Like even their voices are very demonic.
Yeah, and like mutilated. They're like at one scene where Nick Cage goes and like infiltrates the biker gang. Like there's one watching like an old porno. He's got like a blade for a dick.
Yeah, that's right.
Like what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, like he's like fucking whips his pants open. He's got this fucking spear dick, and he's like walking towards him. Like the fuck is happening?
And like so, the bikers were kind of creepy. I was kind of bummed out though that they're always cast in shadow because I wanted to see like more detail of what's going on with their costumes.
I don't know, but I like that though because it's like for Nicolas Cage, it's him working his way up. So like when he starts getting revenge, like he starts out with the biker gang, which are like the muscle, and then he works his way up through like all of like the major higher ups in this cult until he really gets to the main guy at the end.
No, I get that, but I'm just like I wanted to physically see these bikers like more. Like I didn't want to see them all as silhouettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see like the gritty detail of them, like because one kind of looked like they had like a porcelain doll face. Another one looked like Pinhead if it only was railroad spikes.
Yeah,
and another one was like the spike dick.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like they wear like coats that are like spikes coming out of them for some reason. And like they don't really tell you like are they metal? Are they just like part of the coat?
Yeah.
Like a lot of them look like weird gimps.
Yeah.
Like they're just silhouetted in leather.
Yeah.
And they're just really fucked up.
That's why I just wanted to see a little bit more of them. So that was like a little bit disappointing for me. But I
don't know. But for me, I liked it just because there was such a mystery around them, and I think they are supposed to be like these unexplainable type entities where like you are supposed to believe that he did make a deal with the devil to hire these weird bodyguards to like do his bidding for him. And I think that's what part of like the whole thing of this movie is that it's like he's so hypocritical where like he talks about God, but yet he fucking deals drugs and he deals with like this weird devil gang.
Yeah, that's fine. Something else I was gonna add to that. Well, I forgot.
But no, I want to bring up when right when they abduct Mandy, and they go to make a deal with this devil biker gang to get him. Like the things that they have to give them in order for them to go abduct Mandy is like they have to give him like this weird jar of LSD.
Yeah,
and they have to sacrifice somebody, and the guy they sacrifice to them looks exactly like Thurman Merman from fucking Bad Santa.
Yeah, he really does.
He looks exactly like him, and I was losing my shit. Even like when they go to abduct Mandy, and then they show that one scene where they look in like a door frame and they're grabbing him, and he's like, "No!" And they pull him away with his big fucking blonde fro. I was losing it. I love that part so much.
That's really good. And that's the scene where it's also going down that like Nick Cage is getting the shit kicked out of him. Mandy is getting abducted.
Yeah.
And then he like Nick Cage kind of wakes up and he's like strapped to like this post outside.
Yeah,
with
they're like wrapped in wire and shit.
Like wrapped his arms in wire and his like one going through his mouth.
Yeah.
And like they bring out Mandy in like this sack and swing her over like this swing set or whatever.
Yeah.
And they end up just lighting her up on fire.
Oh God, I know. And they're like it's like pretty low budget, so they don't really have to like I'm pretty sure they couldn't afford like lighting someone on fire.
Yeah. Well, they do
But,
it
like,
to one of those biker guys.
Oh, I guess they do.
But
like yeah, like just even not seeing or just seeing like the bag like flail back and forth as it's on fire, you're just like, this is some crazy shit. Like,
yeah, it was kind of disturbing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like they don't like. It's almost like less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Where like if you like saw her actually being on fire, like that's one thing. But like just imagining what it looks like inside that bag as it's going up, and like you're still seeing like the bag flail back and forth as it's on fire. Like Jesus Christ, that's nuts.
I would definitely say that less is more than that, because like if that was like just a real, like, well, quote real body, just you could see it right in front of you. It would be shocking, but I don't think it would have like a lasting effect.
Yeah.
Whereas like you can imagine possibly being like a tad claustrophobic in a bag.
Yeah.
And then having something terrible outside happening, you can't tell what it is, and it turns out it's on fire, and then like, holy shit. Like,
and also from Nicolas Cage's point of view, where it's like he never sees her again.
Yeah.
Like the next time he sees her, she's a fucking smoldering skeleton. Where it's like shit. Like the last time you saw, like this time you saw her before this, she's like being held down by this gang as you get knocked out, and then the next time you see her after that, she's
ash,
smoldering rubble.
Yeah,
it's like Jesus.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah,
hard to take.
It's fucked. So it's like, yeah, you can see why you would go nuts.
Mm-hmm. He goes so nuts, in fact, that he makes and forges his own hell axe.
God damn it, that axe is fucking awesome. That axe is badass.
What the fuck, though, right? Because, so, like, he's definitely distraught. He goes sees his buddy that's in Predator.
Yeah, Bill Duke from Predator.
He goes and
I liked him in this actually quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's just like this super soft-spoken, like, because I guess he's the guy that holds his weapons.
I'm sure.
Like he goes there and just like picks up a bunch of shit, and he's just like, oh, this must be pretty serious.
Yeah.
And he's just like super soft-spoken the whole time. But I fucking loved him in this.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. But once he meets that guy, then like that's the whole second half of the movie. From there is like completely different.
There's that scene in the bath. I think it's before this. Like that scene in the bathroom when he drinks like almost like 3/4 of a bottle of vodka.
Yeah. First of all, what is vodka doing in the bathroom? Because he goes in there in his favorite t-shirt and his underwear.
Yeah.
And opens up a cupboard in the bathroom, and that's where vodka is. And he drinks a ton of it.
He drinks like half of it and dumps like 1/4 of it on his body. Where it's just like he drinks and then dumps and goes, bah! And then just like drinks more. And I fucking like I've even like think I like left a note for myself where I'm like, motherfucker, like. Even if that's just water, that's a lot of liquid that he's consuming. Because he drinks a fuck ton of it.
Yeah, he goes full Nick Cage on that one.
Yeah.
But, like, that was one of my notes. Vodka in bathroom. Like, just because I thought it was weird. I found it more weird that he had vodka stored in the bathroom than he would forge his own hell axe. But speaking
of course he made his own hell axe. He had vodka in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more rules anymore.
Yeah, that's like a fucking SAT question. If then,
yeah,
if you have vodka in the bathroom, then you can make your own hell axe.
It's like a total yes and situation. Yeah. Why is he forging? Why did they take the time in this movie for him to forge that hell axe?
By the time of this, it's like it goes completely off the rails. I was like, he starts going nuts and just starts like saying crazy shit, and then he makes that hell axe, and I'm just like, I'm on board. I don't care anymore. This is not the movie we started with, but I'm loving all of it.
It definitely adds a lot to the second half of the movie. I'm like, wow, this guy's going hardcore where he was gonna
Yeah.
take the time out of his his like despair to forge a weapon.
Motherfucking John Henry's a goddamn axe out of like, forges his own metal to fucking pour his own axe.
I had no idea where it was going at this point. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? He's like grabbing like this huge cup of something out of a furnace. I'm like, what? Why is he wasting time doing this? And then he just makes this fucking
shit's going downhill. He needs to fucking
heavy
get
metal
revenge.
hell axe.
Oh, and it's so fucking shiny too.
I know.
Like he must have polished the fuck out of that after he made it.
Well, it pays off in spades. He takes a lot of lives with that bad
especially
boy.
like where he goes from here when he fucking he gets revenge on the fucking devil biker gang.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, that might be my favorite part of the whole movie.
My favorite part of the movie is a little bit later, but I'll let you continue with
well,
this.
He fucking first he just kills the fuck out of a dude with his crossbow.
Yeah.
Just shoots him right through the fucking face, and then goes
to run him over.
Yeah, he shoots them, and then the guy's like kind of like subdued. So then he just gets in his truck and runs him over. And the guy must be made of fucking adamantium because he fucking flips the fucking truck the minute he hits him.
Yeah. That was actually shocking to me because I thought he was gonna splatter that guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he flips his truck. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And then he goes and eventually finds like their hideout.
No, he gets captured because he flips the truck.
That's right.
So he's like pretty much knocked out, and then the other guys go and kidnap him. So then he's like handcuffed to a pipe.
Yeah.
And then he fucking rips the pipe down and beats the one dude near to death, and then goes upstairs and then fucks up Spear Dick.
Yeah. Also, there's a huge pit in that room.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on with that
Didn't
pit?
he throw the guy down in the pit and then he comes back at the end?
I thought so, because there's only three
So
of
it's
them,
like-
right?
Yeah, there's only 3 of them. So he fucks up the one dude, throws him down the pit, and then he fights Spear Dick.
Yeah.
And then cuts his throat in front of a very graphic porno. After the dude like sticks his head in a big mountain of cocaine.
Yeah.
And then Nick Cage sees the mountain of cocaine and sticks his head in it.
Yeah.
To where Pit Dude comes back, and then he
Right.
has a fucking fight scene with him.
Right.
And and like the fight scenes are actually pretty well choreographed too.
I thought they were okay.
Yeah, for being an insane, like drug fueled ride, like it seemed like they took their time on those fight scenes where I'm like, this is actually pretty well done.
It was, they were simple. I'm not going to say like they're like raid type territory.
No. But it's like they get close quarters and it looks believable enough where you're not like shitting on it.
Yeah, he's fending for his life.
Yeah, for how crazy it is, I was expecting them to just be like very animated with it, but they actually like filmed it in a way where I'm like, oh shit, this is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And then from here too, this is where you kind of get to see a few animated scenes of Nick Cage is like just imagining Mandy doing some weird things. Like one is like taking the heart or something.
She takes the
out
heart
of,
out of like a weird insect thing.
Yeah, and then I don't know what's going on there. And then another time she's like nude doing something else. Anyway,
she's nude throughout all of the animated scenes.
Yeah. Anyway, she's still with him in spirit. That's what I was taking it as.
Yeah, I couldn't pull together what all those were about, but I was still on board. Like it was just I just chalked it up to the craziness of this second half.
Yeah. So once the biker gang is dismantled, he starts taking out the religious cult like one by one.
Well, no, first he goes to here's the scene that was really weird in the second half. Like to find out where the religious cult is, he goes to their LSD dealer.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Which was weird as fuck, because he goes there, and then like the guy's like, oh, they must have done you wrong. And then he like releases a tiger.
But for no reason?
For no reason.
It doesn't do anything?
Like I thought like the way that I put it together was like the tiger was like an omen where like if he released a tiger and it killed Nicolas Cage, then it was meant to be. But if the tiger just went on, then he was like, oh, so then it's meant to be that you're supposed to kill this cult, and then he tells them where they are. That's what I took it as. But it was really weird because he shows up covered in blood.
Yeah.
Because he just killed the fucking biker cult.
After he got blood puked in his face.
Yeah, blood puked in his face. He's covered in blood, and then the LSD dealer is just like, oh, you're here. And then he just fucking releases the tiger, and the tiger just walks past him, and he's like, they must have done you wrong then. And then tells them where they are.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, that's weird, but okay.
Yeah, to me, this was like one of the aspects of like, because the tiger kind of poses for a little bit, and it looked like it was like replicating like some heavy metal cover, or maybe like homaging one rather than like replicating one. And I'm like, okay. And then it like went on. Like
it's just a fucked up scene. Like there's this big tiger in a cage, and there's an guy making LSD.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what's happening?
And a weird drug fueled Life of Pi situation. Okay, and then after that, he starts taking out the cult leaders, member by member.
Yeah, it goes like some rock quarry or something.
He catches that one old, I don't know, middle-aged guy in the younger, I guess, harem, in the RV, and like shoves his hell axe down his throat.
He takes like the spear end of the hell axe and just fucking kills the dude in the throat.
He like shish kebabs his neck and chest with that hell axe. So he totally gets rid of him, and then like he doesn't like kill the chick. It's kind of like gives him a look like leave, make something. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. And then it comes up to one of my favorite parts.
The chainsaw?
Chainsaw.
Fuck yeah.
Where like fucking Nick Cage sees one of the dudes, he comes up to one of the tough guys in the like religious group, and like tries to start this chainsaw, and he's just got this regular, kind of almost like a smaller chainsaw. And then, unbeknownst to him, the other guy grabs a chainsaw too.
It's like
starts and then slowly pulls the blade back to show that it's
times the length of his other
6 feet long or something like that. And I'm like, hell yes! This is the point where I was like, I am fucking on board now.
And like Nick Cage is still trying to start his chainsaw while the dude is like coming towards him with a fucking human-sized chainsaw.
And they have like this weird sword fight with a chainsaw.
And it ends with the guy like falling on his I think he was on Nicolas Cage's chainsaw, but it was like he was like twerking on top of it, where it was just like, and it's just like fucking like blood spurting out.
Yeah, they eventually end up dropping both the chainsaws, and like Nick Cage goes Ghost Rider again and grabs a chain and wraps it around the dude's neck.
That's right, the chain
pulls him down on one of them that's still running, and then just like guts him.
There's like blood spurting out the sides. The guy's just like fucking hyper, like going like seizuring on top of this chainsaw.
And then another guy gets dispatched by the hell axe just being hucked from long distance.
I forgot about that.
And you get to see like the silhouette of all of it happening.
of the axe of the dude's head. Oh,
that was
so
pretty
good.
fun. And then it eventually leads to him and his old ass bitch wife or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like she's like, I can't even remember what she was even talking about at this point, but she like goes on how he's like the guy is a tender lover or something to that effect. And that he actually is like a giving type of person.
Yeah.
But then it like cuts to
he's like in a pit by himself, like almost naked, because he's like I think he's just wearing underwear or some shit.
Yeah.
And then Nick Cage throws the old wife's head at him.
Yeah. And then, well, I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
So like he's in the pit, and then I actually kind of like this scene a lot because like you kind of see the method to his madness, where like as Nick Cage is like approaching on him, like pretty much borderline about ready to kill him.
Right.
Like you see like all the things that he goes through to try and get him to stop, where like he starts with like probably like what he does with all of his followers, where he's like, wow, you have the Lord inside you, like we could do so much together. And he's like just coming close, just wrapping his hands around his neck, and it just, you can see like the distress going into his face, where he's just like, don't kill me, oh God, please stop, I'll suck your dick. Like, he gets down to like he's willing to like blow him to like, and then oh my God, and then he fucking he crushes his, I totally forgot how it happened, now I'm just remembering. He fucking takes his hands and puts them on each side of his head and crushes his head to the point where his eyes pop out.
Yeah, like somehow he gets like superhuman strength and crushes a man's skull.
He crushes it to where both of his eyes pop out, and then he lights like what's left of him alive on fire.
Yeah.
Ugh. So good. Like I was just like what? Okay, what is he gonna do? And then he just takes his hands and puts them around his head and just pops his fucking head. Like, Jesus Christ.
It was like around. It was like a little bit before this, probably when you saw like Spike Dick, that fight.
Yeah.
I was kind of like reminiscing about Bone Tomahawk and like Cell Block or fighting Cell Block 99 or attacking Cell Block 99.
Yeah.
Where like those are pretty. They were like low budget movies, but they're pretty gory at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie ever gets to that shock value of gore.
No.
Of those two movies. But like I was always expecting it to get there.
Yeah.
And it never really did. Even like the head crushing scene was, compared to those two movies, mildly tame.
Like they still show the dude's eyes pop out of his skull.
Yeah.
But it never gets like super gore. Like they don't like shoot blood out of his eye sockets or anything.
His head is never like a gourd that they just smash.
Yeah.
It's never like that. Or they never like really tear a man in half or anything like that. They never do any of that kind of stuff. But like it was always like, because it was like, it felt like a throwback to those 70s, 80s movies. And that the only really movies I've seen like this are those two. I was expecting it to go there, so maybe it like didn't live up to the expectations I gave it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I was necessarily let down per se, but it was, I don't know. I just thought it was going to go there and it never did. But I'm not like, it's not knocking it.
No. I'm on the same level as you, where like I heard so many reviews about this where this is like Nicolas Cage at his height of craziness. But I've seen Nicolas Cage get crazier.
Yeah, he doesn't get full on like
he gets crazy. There's like like the line that I dropped in the beginning of this, there's legit a line where he's fighting one of the biker gang guys, just yelling, "You ripped my shirt!" As he's fucking fighting them. And I love that shit. But yeah, there's shit like that. And he does get nuts in this. But have you ever seen Nicolas Cage in Wicker Man?
I've only seen chunks of Wicker Man.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I think he gets even crazier in Wicker Man.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't go full on Nick Cage in this.
Yeah.
He's like at like 70% in this.
Yeah.
He's at the tipping point
when he
where
gets
he
crazy,
go nuts.
he gets crazy, but he's not that crazy all the way through. Like, one of the last shots of this movie, he's full on Nick Cage, where like he's looking like he sees Mandy in the passenger side of his truck, and he just has the crazy Nick Cage look on his face.
But he doesn't say anything, and then he turns forward and drives away, and then it goes away. So like he reaches that tipping point, and then he just sits there, and then it like dissipates a little bit.
He just stews in Nick Cage-ness as opposed to like acts on it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Mandy right there in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like it's a revenge flick that's artfully shot. Personally, I think it's a little long.
Yeah, I would have liked this a lot more. Even if they were going to stick to this time, I would have wanted them to go into the revenge plot a lot faster.
Like I don't want to tell them how to make a movie, but the first hour could be 30 minutes long.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, but I appreciate that even though the first half is slow, they still try to throw different things at you in that slowness, so that it's like, okay, I'll see where this goes, and then I'll see where this goes. Where I don't think it really picks up, but it's a different aspect where you're just like, okay, I'll see where you're going with this.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that the second half could also be trimmed up a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like, I hate saying this because it's not like a big budget movie or anything like that, and they were going for atmosphere in this. And so, like,
oh yeah,
for me, as like now I have like a daughter and I don't have a ton of time on my hands. Like, I want to see things that are just like poppy, and I need them to either go,
oh yeah,
or I need them to be really good to hold my attention for that amount of time.
Yeah.
And like, this didn't like strike both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciated what they were trying to do with it, but with the substance of the movie, I thought it was rather lacking for the time that it was allotted for the movie.
Yeah.
It's just a simple revenge flick. It doesn't really dive into a lot more detail than to what we've already said.
Yeah.
And even the last hour, like, even though we went on for a little bit about these fun things that happen, it takes an hour for them to happen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so with that, like, I'm torn on what to give it, because like, I did text you like halfway through the movie, and I'm like, you probably felt like, I'm not into this movie. When does it happen? Like, I'm gonna be into this.
Yeah.
And you're like, just give it time. And like, there are things that did, and like, maybe if I did have another day to stew on this, rather than just like watching it this afternoon and doing my review right now, I would like think more favorably of it. But
yeah, well, part of me kind of wants to ask, like, when we do our next show, I want to ask you, like, if you like thinking about it, do you think any different of it as opposed to like just seeing it and now we're doing the show?
All right, yeah. Remind me I'll write it down on here.
Okay.
So remind me in a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just wasn't, from the hype that I heard from GHD, I should have known that it was a GHD type movie. And I know you were also like going back and forth with them the last time I think you guys were talking, but I was like, is it one of those movies where he really likes it because he likes that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Because, like, not that I don't like suspense or horror movies either. I do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I needed more substance to the flash that it was giving.
No, I get you. Like, especially when it comes to movies like this, like, I appreciate it for what it is, where, like, they do throw in, like, a lot of that cinematography that's really good looking, but, like, when it comes to a movie, like, I think a movie needs to keep moving forward.
Yes.
And, like, movies like this, I think, like, they get really into, like, what they're presenting, that they forget to actually keep the story going forward. Like, there's some where it's like, oh, this is a really good shot. Let's stay on this for a while. Where it's like, but, I mean, there's other people on this ride. We kind of want to keep going forward.
Yeah. Like, a good-looking shot is great, but I want it to, like, build to atmosphere or build to, like, something else in the movie.
Yeah.
If it's just a cool-looking shot.
Yeah.
Then what are you doing? What else is it doing?
Like, I want to bring up, like, you brought up, like, earlier today, like, you watched Coco.
Yeah.
And I want to bring up, like, there was, like, a thing that I watched on Coco where, like, they talked about, like, how it took so much man-hours to build this one scene that's, like, a flash in the movie, pretty much. Mm-hmm. When, like, Diego comes out and sees, like, the city for what it is. Mm-hmm. And it took so many people to build that, but it's, like, a flash in the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like there's a lot of filmmakers that are like, I put so much effort into this one scene, I'm going to make it play out for as long as possible. But it's like, you don't really. Like, if you build an amazing scene, it'll stick with somebody if you keep the story going.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like there's so many that are just like, I put so much into this, I'm going to milk as much time out of this as possible, but it slows down the movie. Yeah. And I feel like, especially in the first hour of this, like, this movie kind of suffers from that, where it's like, I have this amazing scene, I'm going to, like, kind of, like, stew on it for, like, 5 minutes. Yeah. And you're like, that's too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I don't want to relate everything to comics, but, like, I really love when an artist goes full out and just, like, this big, beautiful double-page spread of this whole thing, and then when you go and read it, you're like, oh, cool, and flip over it in, like, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's
making it very brief does not take away from the scene because it still sticks with you. There's plenty of things that I see that are not that long that stick with me. It's just a matter of like knowing that I'm on this too long and then going forward with it. And I feel like that's like I've seen plenty of like especially like independent art house movies like this where they're just like, this is so beautiful, let's stay on this for as long as possible. And you're like, you don't have to do that.
Right.
Like, especially, like, if you get the DVD, I can pause it if I want to see it for longer than you can fucking show it for me.
Yeah. Right.
It's just a matter of noticing how long do you present this to where I can absorb it, and then you can keep the story moving forward where I'm not feeling bored.
Yeah.
And, like, especially the first hour of this, I feel like that suffers from that. But I'm not saying it's a bad movie for that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I do knock it a few points for that. Just for the watchability factor of it.
Yeah.
But I do get what they were doing. Because what they were trying to do was something visually stimulating.
And I do recognize that I do feel like the director was like, okay, we're on this enough. Let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because he does get to a point where it's like, let's go see what this is doing now.
Yeah.
So I'm not like... I feel like he might have recognized it, but he might have recognized it too late. That's the only thing that
I mean, he would have been in an editing room, you would think.
Yeah, but still, like, something that's your baby, like, you're gonna think it's way more perfect than what it is.
I get it. There's something else I was gonna add, but we were on a good topic, and now I don't remember what it is.
Oh, no!
But that's pretty much all I gotta say about it. Like, I do want you to ask me on Thursday's ep what I think about this again. Because I think I might be more generous towards it.
Yeah.
Because I would I would recommend a rental for this if you're into like some just supernatural spooky stuff for this Halloween season.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, I don't know if I would recommend it to the general audience.
Gotcha.
To a general audience.
Yeah.
But for people who are like into like horror and stuff, like they would appreciate it probably more than I would.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What would you like?
Yeah, I would say I think it's a fun watch, especially for like indie. Like it's a fun indie watch. Like I said, it's slow in the beginning. Man, I would give it a B-.
Okay.
In terms of grade, because it's like that first part is very slow, but once it kicks in, goddamn, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and probably give it a C- right now.
Okay.
But maybe it'll change by the time you ask me later.
I've had more time to stew on it than you have.
Yeah. But. So yeah. Anyway, that's Mandy. If you've seen Mandy, let us know on Twitter.
Shit, yeah.
Or hit us up anywhere on social media. You can find me at Troy to the Max.
You can find me at JT, or you can find me at Buggy Fervent on Twitter, also Buggy Fervent on Instagram, and he went out Buggy Fervent on Instagram and Snapchat.
I caught you off guard.
I don't know what the fuck's happening. I've had 4 snake hollows by now, so I am good to go.
Yeah, and you can find us both at Review Pod on Twitter if you want to hit us up on the social medias.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this on Facebook, you can hit us up on there. We have a few fans that hit us up there. And you can listen to us on a multitude of platforms, such as Google Podcasts. You can listen to us on Alexa, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. If you're an Apple user, why don't you rate and review us there? Because that, if you like the show, helps other people find the show. If you got something long to say, you can write us in at reviewpod@gmail.com. How about all that?
Exactly.
How about all that?
How about it?
So how about that quick Monday ep? How long did we go? About an hour?
We went an hour. That's a really long, quick ep.
But I hope you enjoyed this single review here for our Monday drop.
And join us on our Wednesday night / Thursday morning ep as we talk about the test pilot.
Yeah.
Where we go through all those wonderful network TV pilots.
One of my favorite things we do every year.
Yeah. It's definitely a smorgasbord of
yeah.
of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get going on this. This was gonna be a down to the wire again. I can already tell you like that right now.
Like, don't talk to me. I'm still watching. I feel bad.
Yeah. So until next time, when we're doing more TV pilots, I'll be Troy to the Max Extreme,
I am JT3K,
and we'll be off.